criticism. Today we're going to talk about the most productive and healthiest ways to take criticism, then also a little philosophical chat about the word itself, because I have some thoughts about the word. I was listening to the Masters of Scale podcast, which is a terrific podcast for scaling up businesses and growth ideas. And the CEO being interviewed on this particular podcast said that when she was given a piece of advice early in her career, and it was, let's see, whenever you're criticized, assume that it's correct. What she means by this is look first to see if any portion of the feedback you were given is true. And at that point, you can decide what to do with that information. And of course, if you're pretty self-aware, of course, I think this advice only works if you're self-aware, but if you're pretty self-aware, you can then try to change that behavior, alter it, improve in some way. I was reading a book where a gentleman had gone on Shark Tank and was just wildly unsuccessful, despite the fact that 5 years later, the thing he was pitching, which No Shark, whatever they're called, bought in on the idea of, he sold for $1 billion. It's the Ring app, the Ring device for your front door. So, but it was all turned down. Well, why? Because he was really bad at his nonverbal and verbal cues. He was probably given feedback later that the reason his idea tanked on Shark Tank was because he was not a good presenter. That feedback was really good. Now, he could have said, it doesn't matter, the idea sells itself, but obviously it didn't, did it? So he would have taken in, and I'm assuming, he would have taken in this feedback and seen how he could improve. And apparently he is now a very, very good presenter. So that's the first thing, is looking to see if it's true. She said something I thought was really interesting, is the second part of assuming first the person is correct, which is if you do see that the feedback was true in some way, even a portion of it, take it as a chance to repair the relationship with the person who gave that to you. I guess figuring that when a person gives you feedback or criticism, let's call it that here, gives you criticism, that you could be mad at them for giving it to you. It could also be the case that they're giving you negative feedback because they're mad at you, don't like you, whatever it is. So this is the opportunity then to have a moment with them of, if they were correct, to say, thank you for giving me that feedback. And if they were mad at you, like maybe it's an employee lashing out at you, or a friend or something because they're upset, use it to see how they're feeling and connect back with them. Because really, they're doing you a favor. You know, if someone gives you the feedback that you're a bad listener, there are dozens of other people thinking the same thing that just haven't said it to you. So I always think it's a really nice and brave thing for someone to say to you. Or maybe it wasn't brave, maybe they just lashed out, but still they gave you a favor. The second thing that could happen is that you decide that it isn't true. Perhaps I think I'm a terrific presenter. I don't think that. Any and all tips are welcome. Or I'm a terrific listener, whatever it is. And I just don't think that what you said to me is accurate. I can still look and see where did that come from? Why did you say it? And what can be learned from that? So I'll give you an example from many, many years ago. There was an employee who was very, very angry about something and just was irate about it and was throwing a lot of accusations at her manager. And it was really outlandish, to the point that someone said to the manager, you know, should write that person up for, what's the word? Oh, insubordination. And I was like, the person obviously has something going on. I don't think any of that feedback is true about you personally, and no one else really did. But maybe talk to the person and see like what's really going on, instead of having your ego get in there like, how dare they say those things to me? And then that relationship is broken. And you know, of course, you end up finding things out about a person. They had something horrible that day, and it can be on you to be the person who helps to save all of that. Okay. Now, let's talk about the word criticism. So I actually never use this word. I think it's a judgment on feedback. I think a person gave you words, told you words, and you can interpret them as positive, negative, or neutral. Then on the other side, the person who gave the feedback, they might think of it as positive, negative, or neutral. So let's say that a person says to me, you talk too much in meetings. I like that this time I'm using things that no one's ever said to me, actually, so that's nice. You talk too much in meetings. They could mean that as a criticism. You talk too much in meetings. It's so annoying. They can mean as, you talk so much in meetings, or you talk too much in meetings, but it works really well. Or neutral. You talk too much in meetings. Now, too much is a qualifier. Nonetheless, that's all their thought process around it. How they meant it is on them. How you take it, though, is on you. So you talk too much in meetings, I could think, oh, wow, I wonder if that's distracting from people. Let me see, which would be a negative interpretation, but at least be helpful. Or I could take it as, meh, that's one, I've gone through the process. I don't think it's true. That was her opinion. She thinks something different about what I should be doing. Roll off my back. And the other one is I could actually take it as a positive. So let's say this was said about me. I was a painfully shy child. Painfully shy. Remarkably shy. So if someone thought I talked too much in meetings, there would actually be a moment of joy where I would think, wow, I've come so far. So I could see it as a positive. Now, of course, I still might adjust, like, I wonder why I'm coming off that way in this particular case. Was that something I was passionate about this time? Have I really started talking too much? You could go a lot of ways, but honestly, if someone said that to me, I'd be just momentarily delighted. So my thought for you is there really is no criticism. If you're upset about feedback someone gave you, if you take it as a criticism, that is on you for your interpretation. See what else you can do with it. Just process through, like I talked about in the first half of the video. And, if you're coming up with solutions, then it was an opportunity. It wasn't anything negative. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. And perfectionism, as I always say, is something I have to do an episode on. Go out, go give people important feedback they need, accept feedback in new ways.